What's up, everybody? It's Dominic D'Angelo of adfreeshows.com, SEScoops.com, and OneTrueSportTV.com. And I'm here by myself in a cafe, Trace Brewing Company in Pittsburgh, PA. That's where I was earlier in the week with Robert. And now I'm here with you guys. So let's give some shout outs to some folks before we cover SmackDown. Devin Dowling says, "Hey guys, how's the new baby? Congratulations, Devin. That's awesome." Cami Star was wondering if there was a show today. Yes, there is. A little late though. No. Happy Friday, RNI. Dom, WWE has more belts than AEW, not including ROH or NXT. That's true, but I can make a case for them in regards to that over what they do, what AEW's been doing. All Jake takes on. I thought maybe the one day I could join live this week. There was no show. Nope, I'm here. Happy Friday. I'm still alive. I've just been watching later lately. Good to see you, Lou. All Jake says, Jacket Lady incoming. No, this is a different place. That's Marco. It's the other cafe I was at. So Eric says, what's up, Rumor and Innuendos? Ooh, I like that. He's a week old today. Wow, time already flies. Holy crap. Devin, do you feel comfortable giving the actual name of your child? You don't have to. But I'm just curious. I hope it is Dominic Robert or Robert Dominic. Either one's fine. Schematics, Jay Owens. Yeah. Okay, I'll make the case for it real quick. So, yeah, obviously, AEW has a lot of belts. WWE has a lot of belts. You separate the brands. You have distinct shows with WWE, so it's just like they're all in that one segmented ecoscape. You're not going to have the United States Women's Championship be defended on Raw typically. The only one that travels over is the women's tag team titles, correct? So, I mean, when you have a set focus on which titles to worry about, then I think it's a little bit more digestible. SmackDown in particular, too, since 3 hours long, makes a little bit more sense, right? So, that's kind of my case I could make for WWE, whereas AEW, they're just all over the map. I know ROH kind of has its own entity, but does it really? Because, I mean, Jericho's the ROH champ. We see him on Dynamite all the time. It's just really confusing. So, I like that. It's a good name. Caden Wade. That's a great name. Good stuff, Devin. You and your lady, you got some good choice in name titles. I'll take that over Robert Dominic. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining live. Let's take a look at this SmackDown preview. I did not write anything down per usual, but we're going to go to London, the O2 Arena. Wow. So this is going to be pretty cool. The look of and feel of the O2 Arena, and we know this European crowd gets rowdy. So, this only speaks to hyping it up more for WrestleMania and seeing where it goes. And so I think this could be a pretty fun show. We have on tap the United States Championship, LA Knight, the champion, taking on Braun Strowman. I can only imagine maybe that we would get maybe not. I'm trying to think what they would do with the United States Championship and build toward WrestleMania, and how they would handle, like, I could see it not being on the card at all, potentially. Maybe that could change, but I mean, I would love to see, like, LA Knight go up against somebody that kind of maybe new Phoenix. I don't know. Where do you guys think that the trajectory for the United States Championship is going to go? I couldn't imagine Braun winning it, but maybe he would. And then you put him up against Jacob Fatu, but is Jacob Fatu going up against Solo? It's stuff to be thinking about there. We also have Drew McIntyre set to appear. How do you guys feel about Drew and his budding feud with Damian Priest? Is it hooking with you yet? It's going to take a little bit, I think, for me to get something going, but I'm confident. Like I said earlier on, I'm always confident Drew can kind of elevate the show and what he's doing in the ring on SmackDown or on Raw. So it's just like, look at what he did with CM Punk. He created a feud with somebody that was injured for the majority of the feud. It's just really good stuff. So hopefully it elevates Damian and Drew can continue this hot ride that he's been on, because he's just really, really great at his job. It's fascinating. Tag team championships are on the line. This should be fun. Street Profits, newly won, going up against Pretty Deadly. Both contrast in imagery and how they look, and but fun styles each team presents on here. So I think that'll be a pretty cool way for things to happen. And I'd love to see more with Pretty Deadly. But man, what a hot streak Street Profits are going to be on now. They're in the right position. Things are looking good. I'd ultimately like to see Bianca Belair join their ranks too, whether that's at WrestleMania or a little bit before WrestleMania, something to that effect, and really get some things cooking here. And I know Bianca's on Raw, but you can still have that association, I would think, too. Dre Owens says Drew versus Damien needs to involve a bracelet. It needs to involve something. What about a hair versus hair match? I'd like that, right? Somebody gets a change of look, whatever happens. I think that would be the way to do it. Hair versus hair. Make it classic. Man, that gives you some classic WrestleMania vibes. I don't think there's been hair versus hair matches, but you have those gimmick things where it's like the blindfold match, or I'm just trying to think of some other ones. But it's fun stakes like that. We haven't seen a good hair versus hair match in a while, so I would be down for that. And then we got Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins sign the contract for their WrestleMania match. This should be some good stuff, I think. Hopefully they'll unfold something that is unexpected. CM Punk's hinted at like the fine print. Heyman clearly owes him a favor still, so will that come to fruition tonight? The crowd's gonna be ready for this though, and it should be a really, really fun way to kind of get things cooking even more before we head towards WrestleMania. So yeah, looks like a really fun card, and I'm sure we'll have some good things to talk about as we step away from it. It'll be interesting to see what else they put on this episode, considering 3 hours. Is the 3 hours sitting right with you guys? It's a long time to watch a wrestling show, but how WWE's been laying things out has overall been pretty good. Let's see here. Let's take a look and see what else is in the sheets here. There's some other stuff I didn't want to talk about. I know that much. Who watched baseball yesterday? Dave Bautista did, because he did a hype video for the Washington Nationals. Who? Did he do a hype video? Oh, it must have been in the park. He actually, he's from DC area, but I think there was a lot of wrestlers out yesterday for Major League Baseball. Well, not a lot, but MJF threw out the first pitch for the Texas Rangers, and then Batista hyping up the Nationals game, which they lost. The Phillies beat them. Pirates also lost. There was no pro wrestlers there in Miami, but there's somebody here. It is Kevin Kellum. He's on.
How you doing, buddy? Better late than never, huh?
Hey, I'd say okay. I sent it to you late. I showed up late today. How you doing, man?
Treating a Thursday night like it's a Friday.
That's it, man.
I'm rolling Thursday. I'm rolling from one thing to the next. I'm on the air right now for 104.9 The X in Rockford. I think we know what these are. I'm recording on one of these.
Ooh,
so I'm taping up some goodies for Sportskeeda. I'm figuring out my plans for Viva Las Vegas.
Yes, you're headed there now, huh?
I guess I am.
On behalf of Sportskeeda, right?
Yeah, I'll be there with Sportskeeda, but I'm not going to be in the press pool. But there's certainly, there's more than enough to cover. There's so much going on during a week like that. So I know you and I are going to be in town trying to hopefully not gamble. I'm not a gambling person.
No, I gamble a little bit, but I set myself a cap.
Where are you coming from today? You're not the usual spot. You're not the usual.
No, spot. I'm at Trace Brewery in Pittsburgh.
All right.
So I was here.
You can't start drinking this early, can you?
I could if I really wanted to. I'm just having coffee right now. So
good on you.
Nothing special yet, Kev. But yeah, I covered SmackDown. But do you have any expectations of the contract signing tonight with
I mean, you got to make it
Rhodes?
interesting. You got to make. I was surprised how many people were critical of this segment last week, because I found it to be the best part of the show. Like I liked it. I was like, what do you want from this that isn't there already? So I'm like, what else do you need? Like, sometimes it doesn't have to be that complicated. And I do think we're getting to this age with the diehard fans where, to them, it has to have this clever twist. Everything has to have like a clever a twist we didn't see, and we want our twist. And there is a level of fickleness with this. And then some people, the brawl wasn't this. I was like, I will say this: been doing a lot of brawling. They've been when they can't get people in a ring, we're gonna brawl, and authority figure is gonna break it up, and they've done that across the board with WrestleMania this year. There's a lot of personal issues, so then people are brawling, and there's a contract signing. I will say that has been something I'm kind of like, even though it's a fundamental thing, I think you have to do, and I produce stuff at the independent level, and you've been around it too, is like, all right, how do we get to an angle and make it physical and not give away a match, right? So there's just been a lot of that. In a way where it feels a little on the nose, and you're doing this now weeks out from WrestleMania. If they did this out the week of, I'd be like, okay, that's when you do it. That's when it feels right. But also, who am I to say what's traditional? Because the book is so much thicker with storytelling right now. So much thicker. There's so much more content, and the way people consume it is so non-linear. And YouTube segments. I would say there's probably a lot more people watching in segments than they are watching the full show. And from everyone I saw that watched the segment by itself, they really enjoyed it. Now, if someone watched an episode of SmackDown and that was the big main event and they thought it wasn't satisfying, maybe that's just perspective and how you consumed it.
Right. I kind of fall along the lines that maybe there's just been a lot of pull apart brawls, and I know it's like an easy form of storytelling and stuff like that, but we have been seeing a lot, and usually the majority of them been very good, I think, in WWE's execution of them. So like maybe that's kind of the expectation. Well, okay, we got this one, but didn't live up to the other ones maybe necessarily. But overall, it's just like I'm hoping that there's going to be something added intrigue with this, because CM Punk stipulation of like, hey, Paul Heyman owes me a favor. He kind of hinted at something, looking at the fine print, that he necessarily didn't get Royal Rumble, and he tried at Elimination Chamber, but Rollins screwed him out of it. So I wonder what that could be, right?
But that's the intrigue, right? What is Punk's favor that he asked of him? And is it Heyman helping him? Is it Roman saying, okay, it's you need beating up on Rollins? That's a part of it. Like if they get to WrestleMania and he's like, now the favor is asked. I helped you beat your family. You became one true tribal chief. Now you and I will destroy Seth Rollins. This is the favor. Fulfill your obligation, that type of thing. Pay your debt.
But that would position them both as heels, and they're like clearly the baby faces.
True, but I'm just laying out all the possibilities.
Sure,
I'm laying out all the possibilities, I do think this is going to be a heel-driven WrestleMania. So that's part of it.
Yeah, I'm almost thinking
Seth Rollins. Yeah, but do I think Seth Rollins should be a babyface? No.
Yeah, no.
I think he's been effective as kind of like a tweener character. He's been effective in that regard.
He has, and I think when he's got some like content that he can really chew on, and that he's able to speak with more conviction about things instead of the like whiny laughing and that kind of thing that he leans on with the theme music and everything. I think if he's able to kind of get into that mode of, hey, give me something deep to really sink my teeth into, I think that only helps him a little bit more. Wrestling Old Head, no problem. Wrestling Old Head says WWE has been twist heavy in taking what we think is going to happen and going a full on Kansas City shuffle. With that said, Punk asking Heyman to accompany him at Mania would be my choice. So him just simply asking Heyman to represent him instead of Roman, do you think that's a good enough favor to put in, or is that doesn't pack as much as
I think that's compelling? Reminds me, it's Mega Powers. Elizabeth is Mega Powers, Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, WrestleMania 5. Great WrestleMania. Maybe the best Hulk Hogan match for me. Like, him and Andre are great. Hulk Hogan and Macho Man is like right there for me. And I love that storyline. And Elizabeth was the wife of Macho Man, but the manager of this team. And she was going to be in a neutral corner. And whose side would she be on? Would she do the right thing? And I think, as I have alarms go off, I think it's the right thing for Heyman to kind of play that role because he has loyalty to either one of these guys in a very, very significant way. And it's very compelling. And it plays into that. I would use footage from the Hall of Fame speech when Roman inducted him. And then he gets up there and he praises both these guys. I would use everything from that.
Yeah, there's a lot of meat on the bone you can do with that. That's not a Blue Chew segue either. But yeah, there's some intriguing stuff happening. Another intriguing element that could come into play here, Robert, on several levels is this happened a couple of days ago, but Ric Flair happened to mention that he will definitely be in Vegas for WrestleMania. And obviously Cena mentioned him in his promo this past Monday.
You blipped out there. What name did you just drop there?
Ric Flair and Cena happened.
Woo! Yep. Ric Flair, yes.
Yep. So Ric Flair mentioned that he was going to be in Vegas. Cena mentioned him in the promo, and then on top of it, he's got a daughter that's going to be in one of the headline matches. So, if you're WWE, would you incorporate Flair into this storyline as you build towards it, or during the show itself?
I would use Flair in a segment before you get to WrestleMania. I would have Flair backstage at WrestleMania, maybe saying something to Cody. And doing that since their legacies and names are so intertwined, and that would be a nice segment on a WrestleMania. If you want to do that night one for like a brief moment, and then night two, I think they're going to close out Sunday. I think you're getting Cena and Cody at the end of night two. It seems like the way they're going, and then I would have the Monday before Cena and Ric Flair in the ring together, and maybe Ric Flair is gonna get hassled here by a John Cena. An elderly Ric Flair is going to be, I wouldn't say physically, but maybe we get close to it, and that's enough. That's a way to get some physicality where you tease that John Cena gonna beat up on an elderly Ric Flair here? Is he really gonna do that? Like, there's still a lot of people, I think, and this is from me on my end, processing the idea of John Cena as a heel. Like, there's still, because he was so good for so long for so many people, and there's still like, oh well, yeah, but I mean, he just wants the title. Like, there's still that, like, the kid they put out in the cut in Brussels, and then the follow-up with John Cena I thought was great. The people that are critical of this, I was like, I don't like it. It isn't this. I was like, you're not supposed to like John Cena. You're being analytical, but remember, in the storyline, you're supposed to think Cena's a douchebag, and he just gave up on the idea of what he really is, and he's selling out. And why? Well, if he's going to do that, he's got to do it this way. And I think it's clever. They still want to. I think a lot of it is they want to move merch. They know people will still want to buy a John Cena T-shirt, even if he's the bad guy. People will buy a Darth Vader T-shirt, even though Darth Vader is Darth Vader, and so there's that element. But I'm compelled. I think Cena versus Cody is the best storyline going into WrestleMania, even though you put a lot more time into the triple threat with Punk and Roman. It's just so intriguing to see John Cena as a heel and what it could lay out, because there is long-term booking beyond this. If he wins, he breaks the record. That's moment. That's history, right? I have a video I just did for Sportskeeda breaking this down. And that it creates this whole wild scenario of things that can happen before he ends the calendar year and makes things he does with the title compelling in this different way. And I think I really think there's a very good chance he wins the title. There's a very, very good chance John Cena wins this title, and it is a Empire Strikes Back type of ending for WrestleMania.
I think I'm 100% with you. I think that there's much more that you can do with a Cena world title reign than continuing Cody having the title and John Cena just kind of.
But that could be the swerve though too. The swerve could be you expected one thing, You know,
Sure,
and it's
but
more
I
John
what's
Cena realizes it was a stupid idea to maybe go heel and it didn't work out. That type of thing.
see. Oh, I would not like that if he kind
That'd
of
be jumping the gun.
back.
That's something I
Yeah,
think you could do that later on in the year. You don't have to do that now. John Cena is not ending his career as a villain. That is not happening.
no, there'll be a moment.
He will have the epiphany, even though it's predictable. He will have the epiphany that people want him to have.
Absolutely.
And realize the error of his ways in trying to redeem himself before his career is done.
Kev, I got a question for you. This is from Wrestling Old Head, but then I'll follow up with my own too. He says, do you think they're going to hold off on physical contact with Cena and Rhodes until Mania, or do you think Cody is going to deck Cena in the next 2 weeks?
Something like that, like a face slap. You know what I mean? How much did a simple face slap do for them last year with The Rock and Cody? Last year, simple face slap when they did that in Las Vegas at the breakaway event, like they did that kickoff event. That really just reset WrestleMania, got everything where you wanted it. There's a lot of people bitching and moaning about this year's WrestleMania build, and I'm just like, it's just so top heavy. You know, last year there was so many storylines spread out across the show that you really liked. This year it's the triple threat and it's Cena and Cody. And there's other matches that feel significantly less than, you know, whereas before it was Jimmy and Jay are tied into the main event and night one is tied into night two. You know, you don't have the night one and night two this year. You don't have the interconnectivity, which spreads out across the whole TV shows. It's just a different build. Last year it felt so exciting and different because you knew it was the full, complete Triple H era in. And I think, you know, now the spoils are setting in and people are already, you know, getting out their tweezers and saying this and this and this. And I'm saying this right now. I do think this will be a very good WrestleMania that will exceed the expectations of the build. It will exceed the expectations of the build. I don't think this is going to be as momentous as last year was because that was special. But if Cena wins this title and does it as a heel and they can make it interesting, come on, that's a hook. There is a compelling part to that.
Absolutely. And like, you know, it's about history making moments and people being there for it. If you have something like that happen, it's going to hammer home the point, and people would forget some of the missteps that have been taken along the way, potentially with this storyline or other storylines building to WrestleMania. People would just be like, oh, Cena won the title at WrestleMania 41 as a heel. That's historic stuff right there.
It's also perspective. You know what I mean? It's perspective. Like everyone's like, well, it's not better than last year, but does that mean it's not great? You know what I mean? Like last year you ended Roman. Roman had the title for years and years and years. That felt momentous, you know? All right. So it's gonna be one moment and it's gonna pay off, and then you have to go on. And the level of critiques at Cody are veering on John Cena mid-2000s stuff, where people show up and they're casual fans and they buy tickets. They spend time. Cody is their guy. But then there's people on the internet that claim he's not. You know, my friends in India that claim he's not, maybe because he beat up on their boy Roman and they have a proclivity to him. You know, but I don't care if your name is Steve, Dorothy, or Sanjit, or Carlos. If you're writing different things on the internet, your name may as well be Mark. Because they got you, because you still care about Cody, so you want Cody to lose the title. And if you're in that internet audience, they're spinning that plate for you as well. You know, so it's. I think it's really hard. They have to serve a lot of masters, you know, right now in terms of fan.
I think too, they just got to focus on the mainstream aspect of it all. And like, yeah Cody's just over. He's over. He's over. Internet consent.
You go to these shows. Yeah. He is the guy. He's the guy. And also, I'll say this. Part-time guys are not, they're good players and they draw and they're good for these premium live events, but day in and day out, they're not going to be there every week to sell tickets. They can pop tickets in major markets, New York. Roman can show up in New York. He can show up in LA. I think they're going to have him in Chicago in a few weeks, right? And selling tickets is now the real major factor back to them, because with Netflix, the data is already strong. They already have 4 or 5 times the audience they had on cable, you know? So people talking about ratings and different stuff like that. I've talked to some people that work in media, and they're like, the ad rate for Monday Night Raw is higher now than it was.
I believe that. Oh, I believe that 100%.
And so when you start talking about that, it's like, oh, okay. And they have flexibility to do all these different things, but you need guys you know are going to be there every week, or at least to make appearances and be on the show every week. John Cena is not going to be there every week, even if he wins this title. You need valiant people like a Cody Rhodes. They have the depth. I will say, though, I don't feel like that depth is as highly like storyline meat on the bone. Once again, that reference for this year's WrestleMania. There's a lot of mid-card stuff that feels mid-card, and this is main event. There isn't like that symmetry that kind of links everything together like last year, and it felt like a kind of an Avengers Endgame last year, you know?
Yeah, I almost feel too like depending on how WrestleMania unfolds and everything like that, it would be beneficial for WWE to have somebody we really unexpect get into play with Cody after the fact if he so loses the title. Yeah.
What?
Oh my God.
Come on now, kid. I'm in Vegas. I got a knee replacement. I can still drop a stunner.
See, something like that would be, man, how about that?
Stone Cold.
Or
Stone Cold comes
even
out. You do what you did last year. Stone Cold comes out. He keeps The Rock from messing around, keeps the show clean. I think if you want to do something that connects night 2 to night 1, Stone Cold and The Rock have some type of surprise interaction to neutralize each other, you know, and neutralize The Rock in some way and make it clear, hey, tomorrow night, Cody, it's just you, kid. Get it done, you know? And Cody says, I'm going out there alone. Don't come out with me. You know what I mean? And you know The Rock's not going to be there, all right?
Yeah.
And you can, and also The Rock can take the chicken shiz thing and say, like, I'm not going to show up because Undertaker got me last year. Stone Cold's going to show up this year. Who wants to show up and kick my ass at WrestleMania? John, you got to go out and get it. I'm not going to. Come on now. Like I will watch from the suite, not ringside, you know.
Or the aspect too is you can have them both actually, like Rock comes out with Cena, and then you have Cody comes out next with Stone Cold, and then you have that kind of confrontation at the
and
side.
Just them at ringside. But then it's like it does Stone Cold and The Rock being there take away from the match itself.
It's another good point.
I think like do something night 1. Just do if you do a segment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you do a segment to open night 1, I think that would be intriguing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't take away from any of the matches, and you can do the triple threat night 1. You can do Cena Cody night 2. There you go.
There you go. Yeah, it would make sense. Cool. Well, hey, you make a lot of sense because you're all over the map, Kev. You got a lot of stuff going on, including a new tour coming up, right?
I'm doing some comedy tour dates in the summer. I'm booking, but I can say this. I'm taping my first comedy album, my first live album that will hopefully be produced and put out as a comedy special later in 2025, but it'll be taped and I get one take at this. I don't get multiple takes. If you are in the greater Chicagoland area in the summer of 2025, save the date, get the ticket. The link for tickets for my comedy taping August 9th at the famed Lincoln Hall, a venue that Dave Matthews Band has played. I don't know how I'm allowed to play it, but I'm playing it and taping my comedy album, Heaven and Hell, is going to be not Heaven and Hell, Heaven and Hell. You see what I did there? So clever. August 9th. That is going to be at Lincoln Hall on the north side of Chicago, August 9th. It's also at the Windy City Comedy Festival, which is going to be going on that week. All of the best comedy across the country, all in one place, and somehow me. So it's going to be really, really cool. If you've followed me on podcast stuff and seen me do stuff with Dom over the years, it's a pretty big deal. This is a fun one for me, and it's taken me a long, long time to get this. And I feel like there is that doubt of like, oh, I got to sell so many tickets. So I will be on the R&I more than once or twice before we get there. And obviously we have WrestleMania and a whole bunch of different stuff before that.
Absolutely, Kev. Yeah, and I'll have to mark that on my calendar. Maybe I'll have to make a trip to the Windy City for that taping.
Yeah, you got to come through, man. You got to come through.
Come on through. Well, guys, you can come on through today at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Me and Magnum TA will be going live on FourHorsemenNetwork.com. We'll cover, the current events. We'll give you an update on Greg Gagne, how he's doing after the back surgery, and cover a lot more other historical stuff and any questions that you fans chime in. So join us at FourHorsemenNetwork.com. Last night, Rob Van Dam and I recorded a new episode for the next recording of RVD. So
RVD been making some headlines here with his hot take from John Moxley recently.
My goodness, yes. I called out some of those content farmers on social media because of that, because they didn't link back to me. They didn't link back to the show, and that's where it
always got to link back.
Always got to
cite your source. Mm-hmm. Cite your source.
Wrestle purists, I'm looking at you. I am.
Ooh, so there we go. Calling out names. Calling out names.
I've had enough of it. Enough of it. So be sure to check it out, though. Or go to rvdtv.com. You can check out the latest episode, and I'll be posting some new clips up there too. So really good stuff. Kev,
Ooh, it's the end of the show. I do have a question. Are we going to cover Billy and the CW?
No, not today, but we will get there. Maybe if we'll get you on next week, we'll try to cover them. Okay, we'll do it. We'll do it. It'll happen. It'll happen. Oh wait, look at this real quick there, Kev. Alt Jake says, "Wait, I think I saw a show at Lincoln Hall during Lollapalooza one year." Wife and I went-
I get to Lincoln Hall is one of the big like Lollapalooza after venues. So like Lollapalooza is the biggest music festival.
Yeah.
And they do it in Grant Park, but they do all these like late night after shows. And Lincoln Hall is one of those venues too. So it's really, really cool. But it's very big for me and like the places I've performed at. And we're gonna dress it up and make it look really cool and have some devilish elements to it. And I have artwork coming together and a lot of heavy metal vibes to it, and it'll be fun.
Ooh, well, Alt Jake saw the Wombats there.
So. Yeah, Wombats are great. I think I was at that show.
Maybe you can get him to introduce you out like the Living Color does with Punk.
CM Punk, if you are watching the podcast, I would love for you to come out to the show. If you want to come out.
There we go.
There you go.
I'll clip that up and share it with him. All right. We'll share you guys on Monday. See you guys then, and best of luck in your future endeavors.
Bye.